A warm welcome to this journey of knowledge and fascinating insights. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Come, let's learn something new. This single idea right here is our launchpad. Seriously, it's the core concept that everything else we're about to talk about is built on. So what does it actually mean to change the architecture of your thinking? Well, that's exactly what we're about to find out.
So here's our roadmap for today. First up, we're going to explore the inner workings of your mind. Then we'll get into how real, lasting change actually happens. After that, we'll see how all of these internal shifts can totally transform your life, your relationships, and your sense of purpose. And we'll wrap it all up by looking at the true art of personal transformation.
All right, let's dive right into our first section, your mind, your world. We're about to explore the very foundation of how we think, how we feel, and how we see ourselves.
Okay, the first big idea to wrap your head around is this. Our minds aren't just sitting back passively observing the world. No, they are architects, constantly building our reality from our beliefs and our past experiences. What you think of as objective reality is really just your version of it. And this means your thoughts are incredibly powerful creative forces. The story you tell yourself about who you are, eventually that becomes your truth.
And this slide really shows us why that's so crucial. You see, to handle all the information constantly coming in, our minds are always taking shortcuts. They're predicting, categorizing, and simplifying everything. Now, these shortcuts help us survive, for sure, but they also mean we rarely get to experience life directly. And that brings us right back to our central theme. If you want to change your life, you absolutely have to start by changing the mental blueprints you're using to build it.
So, if our thoughts are busy shaping our reality, what about our emotions? Well, the next huge idea is to stop seeing emotions as these random, annoying disruptions and start seeing them as what they are: data. They're basically signals from your body pointing you towards unmet needs. That feeling of anxiety, it might not actually be about some external danger, but more about an internal conflict. And you know what we often call self-sabotage? It's usually just a misguided form of self-protection.
So, instead of frantically asking yourself, how do I stop feeling this way? A much more powerful question to ask is the one you see right here. What is this feeling trying to teach me? Just that one little shift can turn emotional pain into profound clarity. It's a game changer. This brings us to the ego, which you can think of as your mind's security guard. It's designed to protect you, but it can also trap you in old identities because it is terrified of change. This is exactly why we often cling to what's familiar, even if it's painful, rather than stepping into some unfamiliar joy that feels uncertain and scary.
So you see, the ego isn't really an enemy. It's more like a scared guardian, just trying to keep you safe in a world it thinks it understands. And realizing this leads to a really powerful shift in perspective. Transformation truly takes off when you stop obsessing over who am I and you start focusing on who am I becoming.
Okay, so how do we actually make these changes happen, especially when our own minds are fighting back? That's what our second section is all about, how real change happens. We're going to get into the nitty-gritty mechanics of habits and fear.
Let's talk about habits. You know, motivation is fickle. It comes and it goes, which is why systems are so much more powerful. And the most powerful habits of all, they're identity-based. So instead of focusing on a goal, like, I want to lose 10 pounds, ask yourself this: what would a truly healthy person do every single day? Then you build your systems around that identity. When your habits finally align with who you want to be, change becomes almost effortless.
But what about fear? Well, a lot of the time, fear is actually a compass, pointing us directly toward what we care about most. It's a sign that we're growing, not that we're in danger. We cling to things because we're afraid of the emptiness that letting go might create. But here's the thing, that emptiness isn't a void. It's a doorway to something new. And at its core, letting go is just a profound act of trust.
Now let's see how all these inner changes start to affect our outer world in our third section, life, love, and purpose. This is where we focus on building a life filled with meaning and real connection.
You know, our relationships often act like a perfect mirror for our inner world. We tend to attract what we subconsciously believe we deserve, and people learn how to treat us by watching how we treat ourselves. So the key to breaking unhealthy patterns and building strong, amazing connections is self-respect. It's simple. When you stop abandoning yourself, you'll stop accepting relationships that require you to.
Next up is purpose. And here's the big twist. Purpose isn't something you find hiding under a rock. It's something you build, day by day, piece by piece.
Clarity comes from action, not the other way around. So a much more useful question than, what is my purpose, is this one. What small thing can I contribute today? Purpose grows from those small, consistent acts. And how should we even think about success? The idea here is to completely reframe it as internal alignment, not external validation. It means seeing failure as just feedback and understanding that successful people aren't fearless, they just act despite their fear. In the end, true success isn't about being the best, it's just about becoming better than you were yesterday.
And that brings us to our final section, where we're going to tie everything together, the art of transformation. A huge part of this whole transformation is the power of being present. Think about it. So much of our suffering comes from mentally living in the past or worrying about the future. Mindfulness is simply the practice of returning to right now, the only place life is actually happening. By slowing down and just observing our thoughts, we can start to live intentionally instead of just reacting to life all the time.
So what does this roadmap for transformation really look like in practice? It means remembering that healing is not a straight line. It means knowing that real growth requires discomfort. Your future self is being shaped right now by the habits you have today. Transformation isn't one big, dramatic moment. It's a series of small, conscious choices. Every single action you take is a vote for the person you want to become. You're not stuck. You are always in the process of becoming.
So, here's the most crucial point of all. Thinking is not a passive activity. It is the most powerful tool you have for actively building a reality, one single thought at a time. It really is a guide to conscious living and true inner transformation. The future isn't something you just wait around for. It's something you build. So I'll leave you with this final thought to ponder. What will you build today? I hope you enjoyed this content. Don't forget to like and subscribe to receive more such informative updates.